Yeah, I mean, Bobby spoke very eloquently about the contrast on this issue of peace and war between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump. What kind of president and commander-in-chief Kamala Harris would be. President Trump has already shown us through his record what kind of president and commander-in-chief he was and will be again, especially during this time of global crisis. The thing that I'll add to what Bobby said about Kamala Harris and why she has earned the support of Dick Cheney and Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger and just about every other neocon in Washington is that they know that she will continue the standard that Joe Biden has set in being a figurehead that they can pass their talking points to, and who will do what the national security state, the military-industrial complex, and the neocons want her to do. I don't have any doubt that this is true, both because we have 4 years under a Harris-Biden administration that has proven this to be the most profitable time for the military-industrial complex and the most disastrous time for us as the American people, but for humanity in the world, because their foreign policy decisions have pushed us closer to the brink of nuclear war than we ever have been before. What President Kennedy and Khrushchev worked so hard to try to prevent, because they understood that this threatens all of humanity, that President Ronald Reagan understood the seriousness of, and he worked with Gorbachev to try to prevent nuclear war and said very accurately that a nuclear war can never be won and should never be fought. Kamala Harris will say what her pollsters and those who are controlling her want her to say. She stood and looked at us through the camera on that debate stage and said confidently and without hesitation that there is not a single active duty service member deployed to any combat zone anywhere in the world for the first time in a century. Whether she was lying or she just really doesn't know that there are tens of thousands of my brothers and sisters in uniform who have been and who continue to be in harm's way today, whatever the case is, it is an immediate disqualifier for her to be our president. Because I don't know about you, but I've been serving in the Army for over 20 years. I'm a lieutenant colonel and a commander in the Army Reserve today. And thank you to all the veterans who are here joining us. Thank you. Thank you. USA, USA, USA.
USA, 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 USA.
But I'm sure you all felt the same way that I did. When I saw her utter those words, and I was backstage at that debate, watching it on the screen, but it pissed me off. Because I have friends who are deployed and in harm's way today. And how dare she ask us to trust her to be our commander-in-chief when she has no clue that there are people who are laying their lives down for our country because of her and Joe Biden as she stood there and uttered those words. And so for coming from someone who tells us she is in the Situation Room with Joe Biden every day, that she is the last person to leave the room before he makes any major decision, that she is a person who Joe Biden has trusted with every issue related to domestic and foreign policy. She either has no idea what's going on in the world or with our military, or she cares so little about those who are less than 1% of Americans in this country who raise our right hand and say, I'm willing to lay my life down for the country that I love, that she is not even willing to acknowledge their sacrifice and the sacrifice of their family members today. And yet she's asking us to trust her with the nuclear codes and to trust her with the decisions about where we are sent into harm's way and what wars she will start. She wants us to trust that she will care for our men and women who come home safely, but who will need help and care from our Veterans Affairs Administration. I have warned the American people about Kamala Harris being Commander-in-Chief ever since 2019 when she was running for president. Because as we have seen her demonstrate in this campaign, she cares so little for those who are willing to lay their life down for our country that she would not hesitate to use my brothers and sisters in uniform to mask the insecurity and weakness that she feels, that she would deploy us into harm's way and drop bombs in other countries as a means to try to look tough, to prove her strength as our commander-in-chief. Every one of us who volunteered to serve, and our veterans, please raise your hand here tonight. I am honored and privileged to stand with you, and I think I can speak for every one of you when I say we know what we signed up for. Willing to die for the country that we love, to defend the safety, security, and freedom of the American people. We did not sign up for some insecure, weak politician to use us and our brothers and sisters as cannon fodder to make her look tough. This is real. This is real. I'll never forget my brothers and sisters who never made that trip home with us. They're in my heart every day. They are why I'm here. They are why I'm standing with President Trump in this election. Because he is the leader who has the courage and the strength to fight for peace. We are 6 days out from Election Day. Today's Tuesday, right? All right. Early voting has begun all across the country. Before coming here, I think this is the second or third time I've been here as a part of this campaign, I have heard over and over again people say, don't bother going to Madison. We're ignoring them, naturally. Because we believe in the spirit of the American people. We believe in our appreciation for freedom and peace and prosperity. We believe in each other, and we believe in the vision that our founders had for us. When we reflect and we go back and look at the words that they very carefully put into our founding documents, when they wrote, "We the people," that was a call to action to us. When they said that our government exists only with the consent of the governed, They're talking about us. So as we spend our time frustrated and angry and hurt and disappointed by the fact that we have too many people in our government who don't care about the people, who are more interested in their own power, in their own bank accounts, in their own future than they care about the everyday struggles that we, the people, are going through all across this country, it's time for us to rise up and say, you gotta go. You know, my brother Sitema started out this evening sharing with you his own feeling that reflects a feeling that I've heard from too many people across the country of hopelessness, that your voice doesn't matter because the powers of the elite in Washington and the big propaganda media and big tech and big pharma and all of these entities, the military-industrial complex, all of whom are conspiring to hold on to power and to squash and suppress our freedom and our voices and our ability to choose who we want to serve in office. It creates a dark cloud over this once vibrant democratic republic. And just as I had that conversation with Sitema at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, a couple of years ago now, it's the same conversation I want to have with you. They are doing all of this because they're afraid of us. They're doing all of this because they recognize that there is no greater threat to their power than a free people in a free country making sure that our voice is heard and that we get to say who we want serving us in our government, not them. And I share this with you, you know this, you're here, you're fired up, but I guarantee you, you have people in your life who feel maybe that sense of powerlessness and hopelessness. Here's the truth. We are only powerful if we use that power. Our voices will only be heard if we use them, if we exercise them. And so this is our no-fail mission to save our country, to save the world, to defend freedom and get us back on that path towards peace, freedom, and prosperity for all Americans. How many of you have already voted? Nice. So for those of you who have voted, those of you who haven't voted yet, here's the challenge I have for you. Before you lay your head down on the pillow tonight, I want you to think in your own life about 10 people. I want you to write down 10 names. People, I know you know 10 people. We all know at least 10 people. Think about who you can reach out to, who you will be accountable for, and stay in touch. Find out, have they made up their minds yet? If they said, oh no, I'm voting for Kamala Harris, ask them why. Have a real conversation. If they're not sure, ask them what they care about. What is it that makes them still undecided at this point? Have a real conversation. If they say, yeah, I'm supporting President Trump, but I haven't voted yet, say, okay, you call me with a picture of that receipt that says you voted. You be accountable for 10 people in your life to make sure they go out and cast that vote, because now is the time. November 6th, it'll be too late. Now is the time for us to stand together, not as Democrats or Republicans or independents or libertarians, but as Americans who love our country and who cherish peace and freedom to save our country and do all that we possibly can, understanding that sometimes we may get attacked. You know that sometimes we will face obstacles. There are some days when you may feel that hopelessness. I get, trust me. But in those moments where you feel like you've done all you can, I encourage you to do what I do and think of those who have come before us, both those who have worn the uniform and the great leaders we have talked about here tonight who put it all on the line for our country and push just a little harder, because this country is worth it. We are worth it. Our future is worth it. Every single vote here in Dane County, every single vote here in Wisconsin could be the difference between saving our country or seeing the darkness continue. Thank you all so much. We love you. Let's go save our country. Aloha.